requests, guys? Okay, so continuing with the theme of Chilul Hashem. Okay, as our sages' expectations from those who are being scrutinized are so high that even a visible garment stain is deemed a Chilul Hashem. A Torah scholar is viewed as a representative of Hashem. If he is not dressed appropriately, people may disrespect him, and by association, the Torah and the value he represents, the value he represents. A particular behavior of a Torah scholar could be considered a Chilul Hashem, whereas the same behavior by a layman will not be considered a Chilul Hashem. Furthermore, there is no middle ground in a situation that requires sanctifying Hashem's name. If a person doesn't fulfill his expected obligations to sanctify Hashem's name, then by default he is desecrating it. Consequently, one may reconcile an apparent difficulty in the verse by chapter 19, verse 12. You shall not swear falsely by my name. Thereby you shall not desecrate the name of your God. Meshech Chochma answers, we'll finish with this. Why does the verse open in the plural form, yet conclude in the singular form? Based on the sources quoted, one can deduce that the prohibition of swearing falsely applies to all people equally, and therefore the Torah wrote it in the plural form. In contrast, the criteria for what is considered Chilul Hashem changes from person to person. A stain on a sage's clothing or an unfulfilled promise by a prominent Torah scholar can be classified as a Chilul Hashem. Though comparable behavior from an anonymous common person may not be classified as such. Since the magnitude of this changes from person to person, the Torah wrote the prohibition to desecrate Hashem's name in the singular form.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. A few more. This is actually quite topical. So that's why you're not gonna get a guy. I heard a shir. You're not gonna get a guy like a Talmud Chacham go to a falafel place and eating a falafel, and the chin is gonna drip down onto his suit, or like a burger place. You won't see a guy like that eating it like at a takeaway burger place.
What are you
he's
talking
in public.
About? I used to see it all the time when I went overseas in Israel.
No, I'm talking about Talmidei Chachamim. Not you're not going to see like
not people that look from. Well, how do we tell them?
Look, yeah, no, you're not going to get like Rabbi Aaron Cohen, Rabbi Abach, and you're not going to see them eating a McDonald's, kosher McDonald's, or a falafel or a shawarma when the sauce drops down onto their suit. So it's you wouldn't see them there.
No, you wouldn't. By the way, there is a thing that I heard, a rabbinical thing, that you shouldn't really eat finger food. It's not becoming. But I'm a South African and I eat chops and drumsticks with my hand. And I'm just saying, so some people hold it at quite a level, but people should worry about what comes out of their mouth more than sometimes what goes in their mouth.
So this is good food for thought, this discussion.
Good food for thought, yeah.
Except in my case, I have to worry about both.
And pizza as well, yeah.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a bit a summary for a minute or two. Very bottom line is there different amounts to a ketubah. If a woman is a virgin, the husband agrees in the event of his death or divorce, she gets 200 zuz. If she's not a virgin, not because she did her tricks around Joburg, but because it's a second marriage, we talk about a decent woman here, then he pays her 100 zuz if she was a non-virgin in the event of divorce or death. So that is added, that's the minimum amount. So it's called the statutory amount, which is an ikka ketubah. In other words, a basic amount. Then what's added is what you call a supplementary ketubah, which is to a sefet ketubah, which is any other amount that she manages to wangle out of him in writing while the romance is still strong, before they both realize that they overpaid. They overpaid.
I think that second ketubah should only be written after a 5-year period.
But then there'd be nothing owing. So while the
Yes.
romance is there, and while she's the perfect tzaddikus and he's the perfect tzaddik, he promises her in writing a lot more. So that's what you call the supplementary ketubah, tosefet ketubah. So that's added to the statutory ketubah, the ikar ketubah. Okay. Now, in addition to that, you've got, as Kevin quite rightly said, the tzun barzel, which is the iron sheep. And what that is it's the property that she has appraised that's brought into the ketubah. And that is assessed at the time she's married. So whether it appreciates or depreciates, either way, the husband only pays her in the event of divorce or death. When I say death, he doesn't pay, the state pays her in that case. What the value of that property is at the time of the ketubah was written. So he can either make a profit or take a dive. So that is added. Now that's the ketubah in writing. Now you've also got what you call melog property. Now melog property is not put in writing. It's property she has, but it's not actually part of the contractual ketubah. So he's entitled to the usufruct or the produce. We say usufruct because it doesn't eat into the capital. The title deed remains hers. Usufruct are the benefits, like produce in a farm. So he gets that. And the melog property generally comes to her either by inheritance, once she's married. This is the general rule. Or through a gift. Now, sometimes if she wanted it to be brought in the marriage in the sense that she wanted him to get benefit, but it's not part of the ketubah, then that is not assessed at the time of marriage. She's lucky to get the produce. And we've already discussed this edict by Rav Idi Bar Ravin. And he's saying there's a proof that it supports the existence of the enactment of Usha. Gavin, what's the enactment of Usha?
It's when you I'm a bad day to concentrate. It's to stop it from something taking place. I think you need, but is it both parties have to be involved, or is it? Oh gosh, I actually wanted to ask you yesterday, I think, on an Usha as well. I think I forgot as well from the previous day. I think just I've got a whole lot of ideas what it could be, but it can be a few things. I'm not sure.
Try one.
So let's just keep trying. So if it's not that, then it's as Usha is a protection mechanism.
For whom?
That's who I'm trying to work out for whom. So I think it's a protection mechanism for the one who stays alive. That he gets. Is it the partner that stays alive? That person, or is it for the? Yeah, that's what I would presume for that person. That they get the use of.
Can I have a stab?
Yeah, of course you can, mate.
Okay, isn't it protection against the guy that's been accused? I mean, not accused, the guy that's got to pay the penalty.
No. All right.
To pay the guy who's got to pay the penalties. There's a limited amount in that's what the Usha is.
No.
No, okay, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, I took a stab.
No, listen, 10
back
out of 10. But it takes more balls to take a chance and to get it wrong than to just play it safe. Believe me. So I'm proud of you.
I've got it wrong twice, so I've got even more balls than Arthur.
Not really, because I asked you directly. I kind of stuck you in there, whereas Arthur volunteered. I conscripted you in the army. Arthur volunteered for the army. You both got shot. God forbid. All right.
Well, he deserves to get shot because he volunteered. It's his fault.
But he got a graze. You got a beating. Kevin, do you want to take a stab in it?
What Rav Usha's ruling is, what his theory is.
No, Rav Usha. Usha's a place. What's it a place of?
Place.
Yep.
I remember
Where
this.
maybe isn't it in the is it in Babylonia where the different rules apply?
No. Okay, so let me go through this all, because guys, if you ever tell me you don't need chazorah, I'll grill you straight before, then you'll let me give you a bit of chazorah. So the bottom line is as follows: is there 10 places that the Sanhedrin convened. Some of them were in Eretz Yisrael, some of them were in Chutz La'aretz. Okay, and one of them was in Babylonia. Usha was out of Eretz Yisrael, that's for sure. I don't know where exactly it was, if it was towards Persia or Babylonia, I'm not sure. But it's where certain enactments took place on a pivotal basis. This was an enactment to protect the husband. Because if the wife died, or even if she was alive, Gavin, you have a point if she died, but the bottom line is that she can't take her malog property that's not recorded in the ketubah and sell it under her husband's nose. The bar, as far as the son barzal is concerned, that she can't touch, because that's recorded in the ketubah. But the malog is something she inherited and was gifted. Either she, most likely in the marriage, but perhaps before. So say she was married at first with her first husband. And we learned of that case of Rav Adabar Abba. And we learned his mom got married a second time. And then when she died, she gifted the property to her son. So whether she sold it to purchasers or gifted it to her son, it's a transfer of ownership. The enactment of Usha is the only thing that protects the husband, new husband. Because by all intents and purposes, she has the title deed. So we learned whoever has a title deed, according to Reish Lakish, has control. According to Rav Yochanan, whoever has benefits of the use of fructal produce has control. But the halacha in this case goes according to Reish Lakish. Most of the time goes according to Rav Yochanan. So that's her protection, because it's not the same case. It's not analogous to the case of a father and a son. So therefore, because of this enactment of Usha, so she can't sell it. The bottom line is she can't gift it to her son without his permission. And you might want to say, well, surely it's a conditional purchase, where the purchaser still has to give the new husband the user right. But this enactment of Usha is a stronger rabbinical prohibition, not allowing the wife to give a partial sale to the purchaser, nor to gift it to her son. He can obviously own the title deed, but he's certainly the husband gets the user fract. But in this case of the enactment of Usha, I don't think that he has got a stronger. We learned she doesn't have a stronger enough reason to just gift it to her son. It's not hers to gift, according to the enactment of Usha. So what that is it's to protect the husband. Why? It was created to prevent animosity. Because if she brought that into the marriage, she can't suddenly sell it under her husband's nose. That's what Gavin said yesterday. How's that fair to the husband? Well, it's not. That's why there's an enactment of Usha.
Why doesn't it apply both ways?
Well,
why doesn't it apply if to protect the wife if the husband if the husband picks up a property along the way, he inherits the property?
So she's only entitled to what was brought in the ketubah. He's entitled to more than her. He can marry more than one woman. But I was born in the wrong time. I was born in the wrong time. That's all I feel.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's a better time or worse time, but I agree with you in a different time period.
So what it basically means is the money, in terms of what he promised her of property she would inherit upon his death or upon divorce. In that particular case, he has to honor that. He can't sell that. But properties that he's inherited, she's not entitled to, because he can have more than one wife. That's not in the ketubah, Gavin. Look, yeah, okay.
Damon, was this usufruct written in a contract that he's entitled to usufruct of her malog property?
Absolutely.
So it has to be in writing.
Yeah. But sometimes it can't be, because what would happen is, what happens if she inherited property from her late father, and that property was only inherited after she was married to the second husband? And then you have legislation. I don't know if there's an amendment to a ketubah or what. I'm assuming that there would have to be, but by law he gets the user right, even if he doesn't inherit the property she inherited as hers. But she can't sell it under his nose. So it's still hers, the title deed, but she can't sell it. And he gets the produce and she gets the title deed.
But in that case, it depends if she was married in community of property or accrual or that. I don't know if that applied in those days.
It was all community and property to his benefit. She couldn't do anything without him, and he could do everything without her. But he couldn't alter the ketubah of what happened when they were married.
So James, the same as today when you get an ANC contract. Okay, the wife gets it to protect her assets that she brings to the marriage.
No, an anti-nuptial contract is different.
And stops.
Anti-nuptial
contract.
No, but
I was listening to the rabbi. So it's similar to that. Okay.
No, I'm saying the anti-nuptial contract is a little dissimilar, because what our wife has before a marriage is hers, and what her husband has before his marriage is his. Now, the difference here.
Okay, so let me explain to you now. It hasn't changed, by the way. After you get married, what yours is hers, and what hers is hers. So where does it change?
If you want to stay married, you're right. You're right, mate. You're right. I can't argue with that. And whether or not that's the law, if you want to stay happily married, that is the law. So what's this proof? The bottom line is, what's the proof of Rav Ida bar Avin, Gavin?
You've got to give us a clue. I can't remember it from the rabbi's name.
All right, Arthur, what's the proof of Rav Ida bar Avin?
What?
We did it yesterday, guys.
Give us a hint.
Start the sentence. Just 1 word or 2 words, and I'll bring back my memory.
Adim Zommerman.
You mean about the guys? Okay, go.
No, you can go for it.
No. You want to go for it.
That's what I need. I also need a hint like that. That helps. I don't remember it as clearly. Yeah. I'm a bit buggered today, but I can try. It's this with the is the Adim Zommerman or Arthur, you rather go for it. I'm ready.
Okay, so if Adim Zommerman,
I know it in my head, but you communicate
to her. Okay, they are only penalized 1/10 of it.
Okay,
because that's the value of what it would be. Because she hasn't lost anything. They accused her of being divorced.
Yeah.
Accused of being divorced and getting the ketubah and being paid out. Okay.
Excellent.
But because she wasn't divorced, okay, and she didn't get paid out, they only have to pay 1/10 because she didn't actually lose anything. It's just so they have to pay 1/10. So if it's 100, they got to pay 10. If it's 1,000, they got to pay whatever. 10%.
Hang on, slow down. Explain what you mean. Explain what you mean. What was the wife's actual status?
She was still married.
Excellent. And what implication does that
mean? Because she was still married, the ketubah was still valid, and she hadn't claimed on it. And what they said to her is that she claimed on she's divorced. They saw them fighting, and they saw them signing the paper, and they got a divorce. And meanwhile, the guy says, "No, he couldn't have done that. He was with me in Cape Town or in Durban."
Excellent,
okay?
Excellent.
So what happened from there is, because she actually wasn't divorced, they don't pay the 100 the 100 shekels, whatever it is, of silver. Okay, they only pay the value of 10.
Why?
It's a 10th. Because she actually wasn't divorced and there was nothing lost.
Okay, but why? Why does she only get a 10th? You've explained because she's not divorced, she's married.
Okay, because she hasn't lost anything.
Yes, but why? What would be the arrangement?
She's still married.
No,
she's still married.
Okay,
I don't understand what you're asking.
Okay, I can add to this. Can I add on to Arthur? Because Arthur's done a good job till now.
Firstly, Arthur deserves, give this man a belt. Is that how the ad goes for the Scotch whiskey?
Give him a belt. Yes, yeah. Give him a double.
Yeah, very well done, Arthur. You got 90% right, mate. You just have to. You got 100% right. You're just missing a part Gavin's going to add.
So I'll give you the 10% that you need. So you got 90 so far. Together, combined, it's a bit unfair. We'll get 100 together because they're only contributing 10%. So it's discounted because of the fact that there's no guarantee the guy is ever going to receive anything on that property.
Which guy? What guy? Just set up the case. Explain what we mean by who's.
Okay. So if you got if she sells the property.
Yes.
No. This is not selling. This is to do with the ketubah. Yeah. If she claims that she's divorced, right? No, not that she's divorced. He set up the case also, basically.
No, Arthur's correct. What are you almost there, Gavin?
No, it's at a discounted price because of the fact that she was still currently married at the time.
You're saying the same thing as him. You're missing a crucial step. Kevin, take it.
I might be wrong here. Gavin might be.
You're missing a step. You're missing one step.
Another step.
Yes.
Why are they only paying 10%? Is that the question?
Okay. Yes.
Well, it's a symbolic. It's a false accusation, but no one lost any money. There was no.
Why not?
It's just to punishment for them. For false accusation.
All right, guys. Can I tell you why? If she was genuinely divorced, as Arthur said quite rightly, if she was genuinely divorced and they accused her of collecting her ketubah and she wasn't collecting her ketubah, then what they sought to do to her was remove the value of her ketubah, and then they have to pay 100% at what they sought to extract from her. But since she's married, there's nothing that they could extract from her because she was married. So Arthur did say that, but why is it 10%? And the answer is as follows, is what happens is while she's married, if she decides to sell her malog property to a purchaser on the grounds of him doing a what you call he was basically doing speculation of an investment like the lotto, and she said, in the event of me getting divorced or my husband predeceasing me, you get my full ketubah. And he says to her, the purchaser, well, that's not likely. And she said, well, that's exactly why I'm selling it at 10% of the value. Because in the smaller probability that I get divorced or my husband predeceases me, you get the full 100% value of ketubah. Is it a small percentile? Probably, but you're paying 1/10 on a pretty, on a chance that it could happen. Maybe there's a 20 or 30% chance it could happen, but you're only paying 10%. So that's the guideline of why he's paying 10%. It's not set in stone, but that's generally worth the risk of somebody taking. If you say to somebody, there is a probability that you can collect on 100 grand, it's not entirely small, but you've got to put in 10 grand. Okay, it's say, for example, you've got 20 guys in a pool and you're fundraising, and you say you're going to put out a lotto ticket, but the entry level to tzedakah contribution is 10 grand, but you could win 100. And there are 10 guys competing. You've got a 1 in 10 chance of collecting 100. So it's worth paying the 10 grand. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is what they sought to do from her. The reason they don't pay the full amount is actually, had she definitely been divorced, right? As per the testimony of another pair of witnesses. And the Zommerman's false testimony was only that she had already received her ketubah, when in fact she did not. Then the Zommerman would certainly have to pay the entire value of the ketubah because it's what their testimony would have caused her to lose. But guys, in the present case, the woman is truly still married to her husband, which leaves open only the possibility that she would in any case never attain the right to collect her ketubah. She might never get divorced. She might predecease her husband. So if that were to happen and it would emerge that the witnesses didn't cause the woman any loss, we wouldn't... We shouldn't even require them to pay anything at all. The reason why we do is we say, listen, since she's still married, what could they have cost her? And that was the discounted rate that she'd sell the purchaser on her ketubah in the event that she divorced him, predeceased him. Sorry, he predeceased her. Because a married woman has the ability to sell a ketubah with the stipulation that if she was widowed or divorced, the buyer would collect the entire face value of the ketubah. Okay? So all he has to do there is basically pay 10% of her speculation investment risk, which is not as significant because it's steeply discounted on the probability of it being reasonably low, but it's still well enough for him to take risk. And that's what they sought to deprive her of. That's why they pay what she could sell her ketubah for as a married woman, because she's married. You get it? And Arthur put in 90%, but Arthur, do you see that one step? Arthur, you there, mate?
I did actually add half a share, because the part about the discounted, I added correctly. I didn't add the part about what's it called? About what happens to the Adim Zimmerman that I left out by mistake.
Having a Yomi fell off, I think.
Did it fall off?
Is it a transparent one?
Yeah. Today it is. Tomorrow it'll be a blurry one. Where did it fall off?
I think it's the Adim Zimmerman took it, Kevin.
No, maybe I don't have one.
This year was brought to you by the Conservative Reformist Organization.
Actually, they wish they could have a share like this. It would be even more watered down. It would be more watered. I shouldn't say it would be. They wish they could have a share at this level. The Reform and Conservative.
So
they don't have anything. It's terrible, though.
So, Gav, what I'm saying is, I know you know what was going on, but your ability to give it over so that we could understand.
I'm in too much pain today. That's why I said Arthur. I just can't.
But you've got to give Arthur 90% here.
Arthur did.
No, he got it.
Arthur did very well. Very, very well. I was impressed. So that little bit is what puts the glue together. I'm saying that last bit of the Adim Zimmerman is what puts the glue. Actually,
I left that out. I was just thinking why it was discounted, and I forgot to mention the other part. If you would have given me a clue, I would have. But
we've got to see why Rav Idi Bar Ravid, why this is a proof for him about the Adim Zomamim. That's the part. Can any of you guys give it over?
Say that again. I want to try. Just say it again, or somebody will try.
Okay. Rav Idi Bar Avin. This whole thing with Adim Zomamim. How does this prove that there's an enactment of Usha?
Okay, so because Usha protects the husband.
Yes.
But in this case, they're both lying, the husband and the wife, because they're conning the wife lied.
No, the wife didn't lie, but she didn't lie. All I'm saying. No. What I said yesterday about cahoots, just give me 1 sec, mate, 1 sec. What I said is that the buyer yesterday is taking a risk because he doesn't know if husband and wife has a public fight and she has no intention of getting divorced from her husband if she's just making a quick 10% and it will never happen. I'm saying the possibility to exists, but that was just a conversation we had in terms of why he's paying a discounted value. But I'm going to give it to you guys because we've got 10 minutes left, 8.5 minutes. So please let me just go through this. The reason why this whole case with Adim Zomamim is a proof that there was an enactment of Usha is the enactment of Usha. If there was no enactment of Usha, why does the bride state that her husband would inherit her? Let her sell her ketubah completely, even on the eventuality of her dying first. In other words, true, the husband won't have to pay the 100 or 200 zuz if she dies, because that is a payment. That's a payment that he owes her for either her virginity or non-virginity, and that's just what you call it's not property as such. What we are saying is that the wife should be able to sell her own property, not at a discounted rate if there was no enactment of Usha, Gavin. That's the bottom line. Do you get what I'm saying? She wouldn't sell it at a discounted rate. It's her property, the Malog property. It's hers. It's not part of. It's not. It's not part of the Tzon Bazal property that is written in the ketubah. She didn't write it officially in the ketubah. It's hers. He just gets the usufruct. So all she could say is, listen, without the enactment of Usha, he would still get the produce. She could say, listen, give me 90%, let him live off the produce. Again, the only thing I'm not selling you is the produce worth, but you've got the title deed, just giving them produce. In other words, if the property is worth $1 million, and she would say, whatever the produce is and what you'd earn in revenue, deduct that and give that to my husband. But the full title deed and value of the property she could transfer because it's her property. The enactment of Usha stops her from selling it at full value, and only on the event of the husband dying or them getting divorced, at which case it returns to her anyway, does it actually does she actually lose control over it? Do you get what I'm saying? In other words, if the wife had to die, if the wife had to die first, it's a different case, but it should be hers to sell. The fact that it's an enactment of Usha means she can't sell it while she's still married to her husband or while he's alive. That proves there's an enactment of Usha. It's not written in the ketubah, the Malok property. Do you get that, guys? Kev, Arthur, Gavin, do you get that or not?
Yeah.
The only question is, and this is the question, the Gemara rejects the proof because a buyer said, look, if they stated in regard to Malok property that a sale is valid, did they state the same in regard to the Tzon Basel property? Meaning that even if there's no such thing as the enactment of Nusha, it would mean only that she could sell the Malok property even if she died first. Because the essence of the property is hers, as evidenced by the fact that if either the property increases or decreases in value, she gains or loses. But she can't sell, even without the special enactment of Usha, the Tzon Basel property, because it's referred to as the iron sheep. Okay, so that property is essentially the husband's, not the wife's. So if the property appreciates or depreciates, gain or loss is his. So it's for this reason that property is named iron sheep, because it endures for the woman like iron. So the husband guarantees at the time of the marriage that regardless of consumption, loss of price fluctuation, she'll always receive the original value of that property because she brought it in the marriage in the event of his death or their divorce, because it's written in the ketubah. So since the woman can't sell the Tzon Basel portion of the ketubah if she died first, the Zomim and witnesses need to compensate her only for the discounted value of that property. So nothing, according to a buyer, is derived from the enactment of Usha concerning the Malok property, because that's not written in the ketubah. The question that he has is how can that you can't compare the Tzon Basel property and then the enactment of Usha. If anything, it would protect that, but the Malok property, it wouldn't make any difference because it's not recorded in the ketubah. So that's where they argue. That's why a buyer said it's not a proof. Makes sense. All right, guys, I know you think that we should have just moved on, but I guarantee you, you didn't know it well enough to move on. It's not a criticism.
No, it's very hard to give it over.
It's very complicated.
And I haven't prepped. I need to prep for this in order to be able to give it over, because I forget this, forget that.
All right, so listen, we're not going to repeat this again. Hopefully you know it, and we're going to go into a new subject.
I mean, just go over the recording,
I think
Gavin. Just watch the recording. That's
idea,
it. That's what I'm going to do. Watch the recording.
Yeah, you know
That's
what?
a good idea.
I think what's probably quicker is you go through the Schottenstein at Shul, because that's quicker than going through a whole recording. Just go through the Schottenstein.
What is this, page 88 or 89?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's 88b4, 89a1. That's all it is. I've just added a lot more information.
88, okay, 88b4, okay, from there. I mean, I've gone over it.
Sorry, 89a1 also, 89a1.
Okay, so it's only 2 pages, but 2 of them. pages
Yeah.
in the actual
But
Schottenstein.
listen, we're going to move on now and watch you chap. I'm not going to grill you. But the only reason why I'm doing is I want to see your absorption.
Now we are absorbing. We're not absorbing at like your level because we haven't gone through it like you have. So obviously it's impossible. So we're absorbing a fair amount. To give it over is another story. But if you had to give us like a multiple choice, I think we'd do okay. It's to verbalize it without having gone through it, read the notes, everything's quite tricky. It's quite tricky.
It is.
And we're not feeling well half the time. Arthur's exhausted. I'm in pain half the time, and Kevin's also sometimes exhausted as well. So
often what I do when I'm learning a share or give it over is I make bullet points, like 5 or 6 bullet points on the page, and then I know the sequence of events.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. That's the only way. That's how I did for my MBA. I can't. It's impossible to remember otherwise. You kind of got to go through it. Then, like you say, make a couple of bullets, and then you've got an outline.
Just say concept, proof of concept, counter argument to concept, revalidation of why that argument is right, counter argument in terms of the problem, consensus. That's all.
Well, we're all working towards there. I think we'll get there hopefully in time. We'll have less pain and we'll have more concentration and more ability to be able